My name is Nicolas Axelrod. I'm a freelance photographer. I've been based in Cambodia since 2008.
And my name is Cristofoletti. I am an Italian freelance photographer and I'm based in Cambodia since 2012. Together we are the founders of Ruom Collective. After some months in Cambodia, I realized that it was a very small and competitive market. And I also realized that many photographers were working on the same issues and the same topics. So I approached Nicolas with the idea of doing something together. And so we started working on Ruom Collective.
Ruom came from an idea that Thomas suggested to me of working together. I think his exact words were either we should work together or we'll kill each other. Our first project was working with the sugar industry. So we concentrated on looking at the production of sugar and the farming of sugarcane. It was mainly run by very large companies on large tracts of land, and villagers had been evicted from these lands to be able to produce this sugar. It was tragic to go and visit these places and see that the people that had been evicted from their land were now working for the companies that had evicted them in the first place, and working with their children because they couldn't make enough money to survive. We basically documented the sugar over 3 to 4 months period of time, working with a researcher and journalists.
So that was the first really opportunity to work together, and we found this way to divide the work in provinces. So we were working together on the same topic but from different angles and from different perspectives, and then we work together in the editing part, in which we put all these pictures together and we create a coherent narrative.
The idea for Ruom was to not only work in Cambodia but to work regionally and to expand our work to different countries in the area. And so the next story we decided to cover was the 969 movement in Burma. We had heard about these fundamentalist monks that were propagating anti-Muslim sentiment and hatred, and we were very curious to know how a religion that was, in theory so peaceful had become so violent.
So we spent 20 days in the country trying to talk with the two different sides of the story. So we spent a lot of time with the Buddhist monks and the civilians that were involved in the movement, but also with the Muslims. They're obviously the victim in this case. This story was actually interesting because there was this kind of different perspective that we normally have, in which the Buddhists the Pacific are in love with nature and with humankind, and the Muslim that media depict as terrorists. And in this case, the things were absolutely the opposite. The Buddhists were actually killing Muslim people.
From there, we came back to Cambodia and started looking at the elections. We came back just in time to start covering the elections in Cambodia, which ended up being a long-term process because it wasn't until about a year later that we can say that the elections were finished. During that time that Ruom expanded itself and established itself as a strong player in the media here in Cambodia. In early 2014, we decided to look at migration. It was announced that an Asian economic community would be created in 2015, and we started by looking at the migration of domestic workers from Indonesia to Singapore. We spent nearly 6 months between Singapore and Indonesia, following three people who were in different stages of their migration.
And we follow all the process from the village, from the life in the village, through the recruitment center, and until they actually leave the country to go to work abroad.
In Singapore, we followed the arrival of these women coming to work as domestic workers, and then what happened to them until they were able to go and work with a family.
And with the material we produced, we created a snowfall multimedia website in which we put all this huge amount of material, video interviews, pictures, and a very comprehensive and in-depth investigation into the issue.
So now, after 2.5 years, we've been working together. The collective has grown to 7 core members and two people who are working with us as contributors and collaborators. We've really learned that the benefits of working together on many different aspects. We can share ideas, we can share stories, we can share costs.
I think the final goal probably is reaching a point in which we can create a network of collectives and starting a collaboration between collectives. And in order to create these planetary stories, you know.
It's very interesting to see something on, say, climate change documented from a Ruom perspective, and then from a perspective of another collective in the US or in Europe or in South America or in India or in